Hey guys, so as promised, here's the gameplay from my Remote Duel locals where I go up against Heroes, a classic GX era matchup with Cyber Dragons. Now as a heads up, the proportions for each side don't match well, but this is really just dependent on how my opponent's setup is like. Anyways, if you guys want to see more Remote Duels, then like the video and subscribe so that you don't miss out. So now Heroes is actually not a good matchup for Cyber Dragons, mainly because of Dark Claw. So with Dark Claw on board, all cards are banished instead of being sent to grave, which means you can't special summon out Soldier because Soldier has to pitch from hand to grave as cost, and you also can't go into Chimera Tech Mega Fleet or Fortress because the fusion materials have to be sent to grave to summon those monsters. And on top of all of that, Cyber Dragons also search quite a bit as well, and Dark Claw gets to rip one when you search, and it gets banished of course. So not really the best matchup for Cyber Dragons, but let's see how it goes. So our opponent is going to go first here, and he's going to start the turn by pitching the Mali to special summon out the Ferris. And then Ferris's effect, he's going to bring out the Increase and put it in the Spell and Trap zone. Next, he's going to banish the Mali and Grave, and then he's going to special summon another Mali from deck. And then he's going to set 2 and pass turn. So not the best board out there for Heroes turn 1, but again, you know, if you can get the Dark Claw out against Cyber Dragons, then that can do a lot of damage on its own. So I'm actually going to start out the turn by setting the Machine Dupe and setting the Emergency, and I'm doing this first because I'm going to, as you'll see, I'm going to summon out the Core, and then its search is going to trigger, and then if he has that mass change set and goes into Dark Claw, then he gets to rip a card out of my hand. So I don't want that Machine Dupe or Emergency to get ripped, so that's why I'm setting them first before I summon out the Core. And so here you do see me normal summon the Core and use its effect to search the Cyber Dragon spell or trap to hand. And so our opponent is going to activate the mass change here and uses the Mali to bring out that Dark Claw. So I'm going to search another Emergency because, because he can rip one with Dark Claw, I don't want to search a one of, or at least I prefer not to. And so if the Emergency gets ripped, then that's okay because I do have that other one set right now. So we're just going to roll for it to randomly rip a card. You can't see it here, but there is one more card up at that's cut off by the screen. So I have 4 cards in hand at this moment. So he does roll a 1 and he does rip the Emergency, so that's actually good because you can only use Emergency once per turn, and again I have that other one set already. So next I activate that set Machine Dupe and bring out the 2 Cyber Dragons and special summon them. And so under Dark Claw, the Machine Dupe does become really useful to go and do your Nova Infinity play because you can't go into Galaxy Soldier when Dark Claw is on board, so it's pretty clutch here. And then on the summon of the 2 Cyber Dragons, our opponent is just going to use Increase's effect, tribute the Ferris, and then with Increase, he's going to special summon out the Vion. And then with Vion, he's going to send the Mist to grave, and then Mist is just going to add him that Honest Neos to hand. So I'm just going to now overlay into Nova here. And so it looks like on the summon of Nova, he's just going to use the Honest Neos and pump Dark Claw so that it's at 4900 attack. So I'm just going to go straight into Infinity. And then so here I actually kaiju the Dark Claw, and I'm glad that that card did not get ripped earlier. I did want to save it until he brought out the Dark Claw and then kind of give him the kaiju. So now we do activate that Emergency that I set at the beginning of the turn and add the Naxter. And now with Dark Claw off the board, all my cards do go to the grave now. So here I'm going to pitch the Cyber Dragon and special the Naxter, and I'm not going to use Naxter's effect because otherwise I would just get locked into machines, and I'm just going to go straight into Verde Anaconda. And so I'm going to activate effect, pay cost, pay 2000 life points, send the Red Eyes Fusion, and send the Red Eyes and the Dark Magician to grave and bring out the Dragoon. And then Dragoon is going to pop the Kaiju and then burn for 3300, and then it's gonna pop the Vion and burn for another 1000. So here my opponent is at 3700 life points, so I'm doing some math here. Basically, if I attack with Infinity and then Anaconda and Dragoon, that's 35, so I'm a little bit short. So what I end up doing is I use Anaconda's effect to target Infinity to try to change it to Dark, and then I chain with my own Dragoon, and then I negate and destroy by pitching a card and destroy my own Anaconda. That way Dragoon pumps up to 4000 attack. And so now I enter battle phase, I attack over the defense monster with Infinity, and then attack for game with Dragoon at 4000 attack. So big brain play there, and on to game 2. Okay, so on to game 2. Now, I wasn't quite sure whether he would make me go first or second. I mean, for heroes, because of Darklaw, it is just better to just keep going first against Cyber Dragons, but my opponent here, you know, like, we're good friends and we played it against each other many times at locals over time, and so he always likes to kind of switch things up. So I thought maybe he would make me go first, so I did set in the summon limits, but it turned out that he opted to go first this time. So he's gonna start out the turn by activating Polymerization, and he's gonna send the Mali and Mist from hand to grave, and he's gonna bring out the Escuridao. And so with Mist, he is going to add the Stratos, and then he's gonna normal summon the Stratos and search the Adusted Gold, and then he's just gonna discard the Adusted Gold and search the Dark Calling to hand. And then next, he's gonna banish the Mali in grave to special summon another Mali from deck. And then he's just gonna set 1 and pass turn. So this is obviously not an ideal board for heroes at all, but it looks like he just did not draw well both games. So, you know, it's really unfortunate on his end. So let's just see if we can kind of capitalize on that. And so we start out by special summoning the Cyber Dragon, and then we're gonna activate the Cyber Emergency, and we're gonna add Cyber Dragon Core. So we are going to summon at the core and use its effect to search. And luckily for us, looks like that set isn't a mass change, so we get to probably just keep the card that we actually search. And so just to be safe, I am just searching the Overflow here because I know I'm not going to kill him this turn. Next, I'm just going to link both of them into Verde Anaconda. And looks like I was wrong, it actually was a mass change, and he was waiting for me to bring out the Anaconda, because under Darklaw I cannot use Anaconda's effect, so I am kind of stuck here. So I'm just gonna set my Overflow and the summon limit and pass turn. So he's going to link off the Stratos and the Escuridao and bring out Cross Crusader. And then Cross Crusader's gonna special summon out the Mali in grave. And then he's gonna tribute off that Mali. He's gonna add the Liquid Soldier to hand. Now, one thing to note here, his Cross Crusader should have actually been summoned to the other extra monster zone, but you know, with remote duels it can get kind of confusing, so I can kind of understand the mix up here. So now here, on resolution, I do activate summon limit, and I know there's a lot of glare here, so you can't actually see the cards, so through the power of my shitty editing skills, I will just plop that picture of summon limit right on there so people can know what card that is. And at this point, you know, he did summon out 2 monsters, and so he's kind of stuck here. So I have him in a pretty good position because I also have the Overflow set, and I can pop the monsters because I would really like Anaconda to survive for this turn. And so he does declare battle and attempts to attack into my Anaconda, but I do use Overflow and banish my Core and Cyber Dragon to pop both his Darklaw and the Cross Crusader. And looks like he just passes turn there. So I am going to start the turn by activating Cyber Emergency to try to get the Core to my hand, but unfortunately it is met by an Ash, so that does get negated. So then now I just activate Anaconda's effect, pay cost, pay 2000 life points, and send the Red Eyes Fusion and Dark Magician and Red Eyes from deck and hand in this case, because I did draw one of them, and bring out Dragoon. So I just enter battle here and attack for 3500 in total, and then just pass turn. So here he is going to start the turn by normal summoning the Mist, and he's going to pitch the Honest Neos to pump it to 3500. So because my Dragoon is at 3000 right now, I do have no choice but to negate and destroy that, and then pump my Dragoon up to 4000. Next, he activates Dark Calling and then uses Dusted Gold and Honest Neos to bring out Malicious Bane. And then he's actually going to crash into Dragoon with Mist, take 3000 damage, and then he's going to use Mist to add Ferris to hand. So he's just going to pass turn. So now Malicious Bane, it cannot be destroyed by card effects or battle, so you know, in this state I can't get over it with Dragoon, and I can't pop and burn either, but the summon limit does prevent him from doing much as well, so I just pass. So it looks like he just passes turn as well. And so I do draw the core here though, so that's great, and I do normal it and then use its effect to search the repair plant. So that way I can kaiju him the next turn and then I can pop and burn with Dragoon. Now I don't have any Cyber Dragon engraved, so I can't activate it yet, so I do contact fuse away the Anaconda with core to go into Mega Fleet. Now because of summon limit, I can't summon the kaiju this turn, but this does put him on the clock now because next turn I can kaiju him and then pop and burn that for a game. So now he is going to start off with Fusion Destiny, and I was kind of tempted to negate here, but I figured might as well just kind of wait and see what he brings out, and I can negate there. I also had a Droll in hand, so I felt like I could probably hold him off from kind of popping off. So with Fusion Destiny, he sends the Dynatag and draw hand and brings out Dystopia, which then burns me for 1600. And then he uses the effect of Dynatag to boost Dystopia by 1000, so he's at 3800 attack at this point. So next he is going to normal summon the Liquid and try to use its effect to special summon a hero from grave, except he is under summon limit, and so he's already summoned 2, so he actually can't resolve that effect. And so then he's going to target the summon limit with Dystopia to try to pop, which I do negate and destroy with Dragoon here. And so he's just gonna set 1 and pass turn. So my turn rolls around and I do use Dragoon to pop the Liquid Soldier and burn. And I think at this point we kind of miscalculated life and we thought that was it. And that's why I just kind of popped before putting out the Jizukuru first, but you know, regardless, I had the Jizukuru, I could have just popped over one of them and then burned for 3300, so it would have been game no matter what. Alright guys, so that's it for another Remote Duel video. Hope you enjoyed this classic GX era matchup, and I certainly have more Remote Duels to bring in the future, so make sure to subscribe to not miss out. Take care guys.